This is the University of Tampa. UT students travel from across the nation and around the globe to join a dynamic learning community. There are 150 academic programs, continuing studies for non-traditional students, and a highly ranked graduate school. Academic opportunities are extensive and rigorous, but this mid-sized residential campus retains a welcoming feel. With a student-faculty ratio of 16:1, students benefit from direct interaction with expert faculty, a faculty that is passionate about teaching and mentoring. Outside the classroom, UT enjoys a unique environment. Plant Hall, a National Historic Landmark, is surrounded by modern and historic buildings on 105 acres. UT's beautiful downtown riverfront setting offers a gateway to the heart of a vibrant city. Students are within walking distance of jobs and internships, and the recreational opportunities are endless, both off-campus and on campus. Students live in upscale residence halls and enjoy diverse activities, including performing arts, guest lectures, nearly 200 clubs and organizations, and a nationally ranked NCAA Division II athletics program. The UT experience begins with an innovative first-year program and continues with opportunities to challenge yourself in the honors program, to study abroad, to conduct research with faculty, to do an internship, to volunteer in the community, or to participate in multiple leadership programs. Explore your dreams, discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
just another ordinary day at UT.
Welcome to the University of Tampa. My name is Tucker Whitman and I'm a junior marketing major here at UT. Today we're going to look at some of the highlights of our beautiful Riverside campus here in downtown Tampa. We'll start at Plan Hall. This historic building was opened in 1891 as the Tampa Bay Hotel and now serves as the main academic building here at UT, with 4 floors of classrooms as well as faculty and administrative offices. Next up, the Vaughn Center, the hub of campus life and activities. This multi-purpose building includes the campus bookstore, our primary cafeteria plus an additional food court, a theater, as well as offices and meeting rooms for student organizations. The Vaughn Center is also one of UT's residence halls, providing 5 floors of student rooms. Morsani Hall is another residence hall here at UT. In addition to housing approximately 450 students, this building offers another selection of eateries as well as a small grocery store. Now let's check out the Sykes College of Business. This academic building houses classrooms and faculty offices for UT's undergrad and graduate business students. This building also has a real-time stock trading room. Right next door is the Sykes Chapel for Faith and Values. This gorgeous interfaith chapel features a large main hall complete with a massive pipe organ, as well as meditation rooms and meeting rooms. Student healthcare is a major priority for us here at UT. The Dickey Health and Wellness Center is accessible to all students and provides high-quality services including basic medical care, counseling, and wellness programs. On the east side of campus, you'll find the McDonald-Kelsey Library. Here, students can learn from a large collection of books, periodicals, and digital databases. They can also take advantage of our numerous study rooms and computers. The Academic Success Center is another great resource for students. This is your one-stop shop for academic advising, coaching, and tutoring services. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just want to shoot some hoops, the athletic facilities here at UT are hard to beat. The Bob Martinez Athletic Center includes a large gymnasium, a weight room, and training facilities. In addition, the campus features an aquatic center open year-round, 6 tennis courts, baseball and softball fields, a 1,500-seat stadium, as well as a lacrosse field and intramural complex. Need a break from studying? Head to Fall Theater and catch a play. This 1,000-seat historic theater serves as a home for all major performances made by UT's Department of Speech, Theater and Dance, as well as special guests. This is one of UT's newest facilities, the Innovation and Collaboration Building. Here you will find UT's very own Starbucks. In addition, classrooms, cybersecurity labs, study lounges, and the Loth Entrepreneurship Center, designed for student entrepreneurs to launch their startups. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video tour of UT, we'd love to give you one in person. For more information or to schedule a campus visit, go to ut.edu.
In the late 1920s, the prospect of a Hillsborough High student enrolling in college was bleak. The nation was in the throes of the Great Depression. Businesses were failing, and many of Tampa's beautiful waterfront homes were left abandoned. The principal at Hillsborough High, Frederick Spalding, didn't see these barriers. He only saw bright young students who were in need of a place to continue their learning. In 1931, collegiate-level courses were offered at Hillsborough High. This would later become the University of Tampa. On August 2, 1933, Spalding arrived at the doors of Plant Hall with a 100-year lease from the city and a firm resolve, and with the turn of a key, opened the door to the University of Tampa. In its fledgling years, UT was fortunate if it could collect half of the tuition due from its students. It was only through the dedication of its professors, who worked without pay, that the university survived the Great Depression. Over the next several decades, UT grew slightly. enrolling up to 1,800 at times, starting several sports teams, and even began accepting students from other areas of the country. But in the early 90s, the growth seemed to stand still, even stop. UT needed new life, some passion. UT needed strong leadership.
In 1995, Dr. Vaughn became president and UT began to transform. 1,000 UT students has become 7,200, and we are now entering our 17th consecutive year of record enrollment. All the while, UT's academic profile continues to increase. There has been $350 million in new construction since 2000. We have added 7 new residence halls, academic buildings and labs, as well as athletic facilities. Plant Hall even got new carpet and new windows. UT now has more than 3,000 events annually and 200 clubs and student organizations. We have won 13 NCAA Division II championships, and since 2000, Spartan teams have won 35 Sunshine State Conference titles. As a member of the University of Tampa Spartan family, you are a guiding force behind UT's remarkable success. We are alums, students, parents, and friends, and together we are changing lives. We are individuals, yet the greater whole is only complete when we work together. You have helped make UT a vibrant community with growing resources and a superior reputation. Just like in the beginning when professors worked without pay, the spirit of giving at UT remains strong. Last year, nearly $14 million was donated to the university by thousands of generous supporters. When we strengthen education, we strengthen our job force and our nation as a whole. Donations support academics, campus life, and a student's ability to afford an education. Your participation is what matters most and shows that our Spartan family believes in the future of UT. Whatever level of support, your gift is important to us and enables UT to provide the challenging, high-quality education that has defined our university. Thank you for helping UT achieve such great success.
And Game 2 is underway here at the Namoli Family Stadium between the Tampa Spartans and the visiting Lander Bearcats. I'm Bruce Wozniak, along with Taylor Stolworthy, as the Spartans took Game 1, 1-0, and there you see, leading off the game for Lander, Sajari Jones, and she's going to have to retreat back to the batter's box as a early 0-2 count that she's behind against the starting pitcher Mary Beth Feldman for the Spartans. And Feldman with her next pitch on the way, and that one's going to be fouled off outside into the seating area.
Yep, the foul ball as Tampa versus Landers Game 2 of the doubleheader is now opening up. The 0-2 count opening up here. Squaring up for a bunt is Sage Jones, and it will be a ball, so 1-2.
Sajari Jones was trying to coerce the umpire into calling that one her way.
And it worked, or at the very least, the umpire already was planning to call it a ball. The 1-2 here. Going to plop it down, gets over the pitcher. No play from short. And Sajari Jones is going to get on to lead off the second game.
An interesting play there. You saw that Feldman tried to do her best basketball imitation and sky for what would have been a rebound in basketball. Couldn't quite get her glove on it. And then unfortunately, charging over from the shortstop position, Stephanie Ballmer, by that point, able to field it, but not able to get it over to first base in time. And so just like that, the Bearcats already have their first base runner, and it looked like Jones was starting to run on that one.
Yeah, took a few extra steps on the lead, but ultimately came back, deciding not to go for a steal. Mary Beth Feldman, of course, on the mound for the Spartans. Her debut for the University of Tampa. She's transferred from Utah. Doing a good job in the circle, now up a 1-1 count.
And that's Bridget Tierney, the number 2 hitter for the Bearcats.
Last game out, we saw Kearney was able to reach on an error last time, but apart from that, hadn't done much else. Fouls it off again, 1-2. This time, I think Jones went fully for second, but will ultimately come back.
And at 12 noon Eastern time, we started our first game of this doubleheader with a game time temperature of 64 degrees. And since then, it has actually dropped 1 degree, so we start game number 2 at 64 here on the University of Tampa campus at the Namoli Family Stadium.
And 64 degrees, but the 1 degree that matters so far is that 1 strikeout Feldman just scored there to get 1 out away. Jones was able to get back to first safely in time, so runner on first, 1 out. Now at the plate is Anthony.
Some discussion between the umpires, Scott Johnson and Tyrone Miller. Scott Johnson, the home plate umpire for the second game of the doubleheader, as he and Miller reversed positions from the first game. And now we're ready for Mary Beth Feldman to deliver the next pitch.
Going to drop the bunt, but it will be fouled backwards. The 0-1 count here with 1 away. Jones on first.
Shannon Antonini, you saw her showing bunt there. Let's see if she sticks with that again here.
Hoping to drive a runner to second in scoring position. Runner goes, throw. He's going to get to second, not in time. And a successful stolen base to avoid a double play option.
Well, not only was it not in time, but unfortunately Lexi Chevalier's throw to second was way off target. So even if it had gotten there in time, it would have had to been a case of getting over to the bag before the base runner did. And look at the Bearcats getting aggressive early and saying, if we've got a base runner, let's try to at least get her into scoring position.
Last game, they only had a few base runners. after a great performance from Minor, only allowing 3 hits. So obviously, they're going to be hungry to try to get any runs necessary. Grounded to left field. They're going to be satisfied with runners at the corners. A good hit there from Antonini. Trying to do some shenanigans on the base path. There's no one at first base. Finally, however, get back to first base. And now, runners at the corners with 1 out.
And you see the importance of that stolen base, because as a result, they've now got standing over at third Sajari Jones, who is that close to giving them their first run of the day, keeping in mind that there was already a complete game here this afternoon between these two teams, as we're now in the first inning of Game 2 of a doubleheader, a 1-0 victory for the home team in Game 1. And this brings to the plate Barbara Cook. And a good opportunity for her here with only 1 out.
The first test here for Feldman, and actually, runner's going to go to second there. I think a little bit of miscommunication from Tampa after the pitch, and just a very casual stolen base right there from Antonini.
Yeah, and
so
a gift.
Now, runners third and second with 1 out.
Yeah, a gift for the Bearcats that they have 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 out, and they were not able to have anything resembling that kind of success in Game 1. So good start for them here early.
Feldman's D2 debut, coming from Utah as mentioned, and already a little bit of pressure underway. Gonna have to see if she can recover here early on in the first inning.
And unofficially, I believe that the Bearcats did not even have a runner in scoring position in Game 1.
It happened, I believe, once, and I think it was actually in the last inning where they were able to get 2 aboard, but Minor was able to retire the side. So in the circle again, Feldman gets a 1-2 count here, potentially to try to put 2 away. Strike 3! It's another strikeout here. And a chance now to get out of the jam, and this is a really tough one.
And that's a bad strikeout for Barbara Cook. She chased that one. Had she let that one go, that was going to be way outside for a ball. But instead, it's a shot in the arm for Feldman here, as she's able to get out number 2.
Feldman winds up, and it's going to be outside for ball 1.
That was almost the same pitch placement as the one that Cook swung at. And so a battle here early to see if Feldman can get out of this jam, or whether or not Hannah Medley can come through for the visiting Lander Bearcats and give her team an early lead, if not draw a walk to load the bases.
A 1-1 here as well, though. And so far, good job from Feldman in the circle to keep her composure and try to get out of the situation. The 1-1 with 2 outs. That's low and away and just outside for another ball. It's 2-1.
And a good eye by Hannah Medley there. That one would have been tempting to swing at, especially given the fact that you do have 2 runners in scoring position. You just lost a game where you didn't score any runs. It's a temptation to try to create some offense when you have this situation. And smartly, she watched that one for a ball, although now this one goes in for strike 2.
Attempts to swing to try to get into play, but doesn't work. 2-2 with 2 outs, and the Lander also has 2 hits, so a little bit of a number 2 action going on here. But here we go, 2-2 pitch. It's going to be fouled away. The at-bat and inning are both still alive. Looking at the Tampa Spartans lineup, not a lot of changes. Alyssa Kafora is coming in as the designated hitter, however, for this game, as the pitching change is one of the main ones. Mac Allen also is in right field. But now the 2-2. Strike 3, and Feldman retires to side with 3 strikeouts, also conceding 2 hits.
What a nice momentum builder that is for UT early on. Watching the visiting Lander Bearcats get 2 runners in scoring position and able to stay calm, and Mary Beth Feldman with a huge 3rd out there, as the Spartans can come to the plate now with a sigh of relief and try to counter that and come out of the box early with some offense of their own. If you can get Lander scratching their head to start off the game, you're going to have them more or less right where you want them, and then play from a position of strength. If we already beat you in the first game and there's potentially some doubt, and let's play Spartan softball from this point on and try to sweep.
Precisely, and That's going to be the goal. But they're also going to want to try to avoid those types of situations in future innings. But still a great job by Feldman to be able to pitch her way out of the jam.
And in the circle for Lander for Game 2 is Rebecca Boson, who is a freshman from nearby Bradenton. So a little bit of a homecoming, so to speak, for her. And we mentioned in Game 1 the tremendous turnout here at the Namoli Family Stadium this afternoon, and a great number of spectators that are here on behalf of the Bearcats, and certainly with Bradenton just being an hour south of here, there clearly could be some folks who are here specifically to watch Rebecca Boson pitch for the visiting team. And it's going to be led off for UT in Game 2 of this doubleheader by Lauren Fantone.
The bunt is fouled off here as Fantone leads off again. And Lauren Fantone had a great season last year for the Spartans and has been clinical at being able to get on base. Was on the 2019 All-SSC second team as well. So not a surprise to see her leading off as a consistent player for the Spartans. The throw to first is in time and will retire her. Good play at shortstop, however.
But you know, in Game 1, I talked about a situation where Lander's starting pitcher, Liz Golan, was very lax and very casual in lobbing the ball over to first base. And I said, a batter that's a good base runner is going to prevail in a situation like that. And even though she got out, Fantone showed good hustle down the baseline, and that's what you want to see from your players, is them running through every batted ball that gets in play. And sometimes you're going to win those. In that case, she lost, but good to see the effort made by Fantone in running that one out.
And it also was a pretty close throw that if she was maybe a step or two faster, she actually could have gotten on board. But 0-2 with one out here. Balmer has missed that pitch swinging, and now hopefully trying to avoid a strikeout here. Meanwhile, Boson trying to continue. Let's try to get 2 outs early on here.
And Boson, she looks like Liz Golan from Game 1, looking over to her dugout, looking at her wristband. We'll have to watch and see if that's a pattern, just like we saw in Game 1.
A good take here for Balmer, and it is a 1-2.
Difference being that Rebecca Boson is a freshman as opposed to Golan from Game 1. She was a senior. She is a senior. And I see the catcher once again, Lauren Colley, as she was in Game 1, looking over to her dugout. And from our broadcast location, I'm not able to see into the Lander dugout.
That's going to be a ball just outside. A good eye from Balmer, and now has worked it to a full count. So good job to take what was a very much losing battle to now bring it square at 3-2 count.
Yeah, good patience by Steph Balmer.
The 3-2 here. Balmer grounds to third, fielded well. Throw to first is in time cleanly, and there are 2 away. So very, very solid fielding. That time it was the good pickup there.
But also 2 well-struck balls. I'm talking about Fantone with the first out, and now Steph Balmer with that one. Spartans just need to find a gap on the field if they're going to be able to continue hitting the ball that way in this second game. And they'll enjoy some success if they can.
So now on the mound, in the circle for the first pitch. It's outside for 1-0. And Boson, a good outing so far, although those were 2 hard hits as you had mentioned. Hopefully, Tampa can try to place him into the field a little bit better and get something going. Lander hoping to avoid that. But good eyes right here from Gallhouse to draw a 2-0 count. So hitters count here for Gallhouse, who is a dangerous hitter, knows how to get on base.
Yeah, we remember in Game 1 the double that she recorded.
That's going to be inside, but called for a strike. Throw back to the mound, not clean enough. Instead, it's going to roll to the center fielder. But a 2-1 count now for Gallhouse with 2 away.
Tampa head coach Leslie Cantor, thanks to game one, now at 694 career victories.
There's a nice hit to the outfield. Tracking it back in center field will be Lander, and they will retire the side. 3 up, 3 down. 3 good balls in play, but unfortunately, none of them are able to get down.
We reach the end of the first inning, and our game is scoreless between the Spartans and the Lander Bearcats. Back here at the Namoli Family Stadium, I'm Bruce Wozniak alongside Taylor Stolworthy, and we are getting ready to start the second inning of play here between the Tampa Spartans and the Lander Bearcats. We're going to see the numbers 6, 7, and 8 hitters here for the Bearcats in the top of the second inning, and that means that Haven Pesci will lead things off for the visitors as the first pitch sails high and to the backstop, and Pesci will be followed this inning by Abby Behe, and then the number 8 hitter is the catcher Lauren Colley, and Mary Beth Feldman throws the 1-0, and that's swung on and deep to the outfield. That's going to be a base hit, and rounding first and heading for second. Let's see the play at second base, and she's safe. Haven Pesci, wow.
It's a double that gets up the gap, and a monstrous hit there to start out another strong start for Lander. 3 hits surrendered already from Tampa, but there's still some time. And Feldman has worked out of a jam before.
Yeah, the Bearcats, as we saw in the first inning, came out with their hitting shoes on to start the second game of the doubleheader. They had runners in scoring position in the first, and now all of a sudden there's a bunt to move up the runner, and the batter is going to be safe because it's mishandled at first base, unfortunately, by Alexa Russo. And so I was saying the Bearcats had runners in scoring position in the first inning, weren't able to convert, and now all of a sudden here they are with no outs in the top of the second inning, and they have runners at first and third.
The plan there wasn't even to get the runner on base. They simply wanted the runner at third for any chance of a sacrifice, but now they've got runners at the corners with no outs, so the perfect start of the second inning for Lander.
And a little bit of trouble in the circle for Mary Beth Feldman, starting this second game of the doubleheader for the Spartans after we saw Corinne Miner with a nice complete game in game one. And by the way, Corinne Miner is playing in this game as the third base player for UT, so there is always the chance that if things go south for Feldman, they could very easily make that switch.
They could also call one of the other pitchers that they have, potential tomorrow starter, and Gallhouse could be called in. And by the way, on that first pitch, that was an attempted squeeze. We actually saw Behe steal second. So now runners at third and second with no outs. The 0-2 count. It's going to be fouled away. So a good job by Lauren Colley to try to keep the at-bat alive.
Anxious moments here for Feldman. And as you mentioned, Taylor, a long route back to home, having played previously at the University of Utah, even though she's from the area and now playing for her home Tampa Spartans, and needs to get out of this jam.
It's going to be fouled back, keeping the at-bat alive. So Lander After only mustering 3 hits in all 7 innings last game, they've already got 3 hits now at the top of the second with no outs. And now, of course, still 2 runners on, 1 advancing off the error and 1 off that beautiful gap double that's fouled away again.
And if you think about the sports psychology involved there, here you are on the road, you're playing a strong Tampa team that was 18-4 last year, and you want to get off to a good start. You lose the first game, but you look at the fact that you hung with them the entire game. You only lost by 1, so you turn that into a positive and look at how they've come out to start this second game.
They've been focused, they've been locked in, and there's a great take as well. And that's the thing. It's not about when you lose. It's not always important whether you win or lose. It's how you bounce back to the next game. And whether it's the game the next day, the next week, you have to be able to be mentally ready to get back moving. And in a doubleheader, that's especially so. And Lander has handled that stress so well so far as there is another foul.
Yeah, because it's also about what did you take away from it. So they took the positives from that. And even if it's something as simple as, this is a powerhouse Spartans team year in and year out, and we only lost to them by 1 run. We held them to 1 run. It's a shot in the arm, as you see with the momentum that they're trying to create here early in Game 2.
It's a good take again by Colley outside. So 2-2 count here. The pressure still building. A little bit of stress in the circle so far for Feldman. Definitely not the start that she'd want for UT debut, but gets her swinging for strike 3 and the first out of the inning.
Yeah, an important out there, and disappointing if you're a Lander fan watching Colley swing at that one. But nonetheless, they do still have 2 runners in scoring position, and there is only 1 away. And so a great opportunity here for Kanaya Jones, who we saw as a pinch runner in Game 1. And she is starting this second game. She's the number 9 hitter in the batting order for head coach Julie Lemaire.
Jones will take the first pitch as it lands just a wee bit outside for ball 1. We saw in the last game a similar situation. Tampa had 2 dangerous runners, but Golan was able to pitch out of the jam. It's going to be bunted. The squeeze attempt will fail. So a 1-1 count here. Feldman's strongest season at Utah came in 2020, where she went 3-1 and had a 3.32 ERA.
And I'll tell you what, Haven Pesci down at third base, boy, she is itching to get home. I've been keeping an eye on her, and she's hoping that Kanaya Jones is going to come through here.
The 1-1, it's going to be a pop fly, but it will land on the netting. Foul ball. The 1-2 count here, and you can already see that Corin Miller is a few steps further up, ready for the bunt, but as well, you always have to be ready because it might not necessarily be a bunt. It could be a hit that just gets over your head. Always dangerous in this type of situation. The 1-2 here, runners on third and second. That's going to be high and inside, 2-2.
This is also really important at bat for the Bearcats because they need to get their first run of the season. And the longer they're kept off the scoreboard, all of a sudden the sports psychology goes the other way, where you say, what's it going to take for us to get our first run of the year?
And that is just going to be low. 3-2, full count. First base is open if you don't want to really try to risk any ball in play here. But bases loaded with 1 out isn't always a very appealing option either. The payoff pitch here, 3-2. That's going to be lined. Oh, and hits the pitcher in the face. Feldman hit, but gets the out at home. Oh. Great job to be able to react and make the play, but that hits the mask. And thankfully, she was wearing the mask. Otherwise, that would have been a lot worse. And even so, she's definitely not looking too great.
It's interesting, Taylor, because it's almost like everybody stopped. And that pause allowed Feldman to react to, I was just hit, to being a gamer and saying, I need to play the ball. And in that moment that everybody paused, it gave her enough time to recover and throw out the runner going home. And so as a result, the Spartans are able to keep the Bearcats not only off the board, but go to a 2-out situation where you say, now things are different, and now Tampa can exhale a little bit more They have taken Feldman off the field. I should say she's walked off, obviously, under her own power. But either Corinne Miner is going to go back into the circle, or no, actually, it looks like it's going to be Mariah Galhouse. And so Galhouse is going to take over here as the hit by pitch the other way instead of the batter. It's Mary Beth Feldman who takes that one off the mask. And as you said, Taylor, thankfully she was wearing the mask.
Yeah, the mask was able to prevent any serious injury because that wasn't the world's hardest hit ball, but any ball to the face like that, that's going to hurt and that could leave a mark. But she will come out after 1 2/3 innings pitched because of that ball to the face. So, stepping to the mound now will be Maria Gallhouse. Coming in for the Spartans will be Lily Keistert in center field.
So Galhouse in the circle, this makes you wonder, what does this do to head coach Leslie Cantor's plans for what she intended for tomorrow? Because the Spartans used Corinne Miner for a complete game in Game 1. They host a doubleheader tomorrow against Ursuline, so it could have been, I'm going to have Mary Beth Feldman throw all of Game 2 today, and then I'm going to go with Galhouse in Game 1 tomorrow. And now you probably hope that Feldman is fine, and all of a sudden she becomes your Game 1 starter tomorrow.
So that will probably change that up for tomorrow's games. But Feldman had a decent start here. But now, as I actually thrust Gallhouse into a pressured situation, and there goes one of the foul balls from earlier, falling off the net. There's a 1-0 count here.
P.S. Be reminded, runners at first and third, although 2 outs. So Gallhouse comes in a pressure situation here, pitching at a time when she wasn't mentally prepared to pitch. And oh, by the way, there's a runner in scoring position waiting for you as you enter the game as the pitcher.
A 2-0 count here to open up for Tampa. The Gallhouse, not a lot of time to warm up either. Definitely not planning to pitch today. We'll have to figure out how to get everything working quickly. And they're nearly able to catch Behe off guard at third. Not going to work, though.
Yeah, nice heads up there by Chevalier behind the plate. As you say, Behe, I don't want to say she was sleeping as the base runner, but she probably wasn't expecting to throw down there and was able to get back just in time, although the runner does advance to second.
The 3-0 and is taken for strike 1. So finally starting to get things cooking in the circle will be Gallhouse trying to retire the final out of the inning. 3-1 count here.
Yeah, because with Kanaya Jones now at second, one successful swing of the bat for Sajari Jones, and this game all of a sudden goes 2-0. But it's a full count here.
Full counts, 2 outs, runners on third and second. It's a pressured situation. The pitch from Gallhouse and will go ball 4. Now leaving the bases loaded for Bridget Tierney. Now we'll come up to the plate.
And we're up in the beginning part of the batting order for the Bearcats. Tierney is the number 2 hitter. And so Mariah Galhouse has her hands full here and needs to get out of this jam, as we are scoreless in the top of the second, but the bases are loaded for the visitors.
That's going to be about outside for ball 1. And it's always a dangerous situation when you've got a bases loaded. And obviously, if you're Gallhouse, you're feeling a lot of pressure. But this time, it's just grounded to Gallhouse and escapes the jam without conceding a run. There's 4 hits, a walk, a pitcher change. It's been a crazy start to the game, and Lander has got a lot of offense, but 3 runners are stranded as we head to the bottom of the second.
Yeah, nothing to show for it, and that's where I say that this is going to become frustrating for the Bearcats the longer that this goes on, because they were held scoreless in the first game. They just loaded the bases. They weren't able to convert anybody, and Tampa is coming to bat in the bottom of the second, and they've got to feel good about themselves. You have a scary moment where you see your pitcher get hit in the face. Fortunately, she's okay. You get out of a bases-loaded jam. You say, if we put our hitting shoes on, keep in mind that the Spartans in the first inning had 3 very well-hit balls, and even though they all resulted in outs, there's still this confidence that's building. You know that you're a successful program, and Tampa's one of those teams that when they're in those kind of games, as we saw in Game 1, you know it's always just a matter of time before they get their offense on track, and we saw that play out in the victory over Lander 1-0 here earlier this afternoon. So we're going to go to the bottom of the second here, and Corinne Miner, who we saw pitch a complete game in Game 1, she's the cleanup hitter here in Game 2. So she will lead things off in the bottom of the second, and then she will be followed by Alexa Russo and Lexi Chevalier.
So Miner now at the plate. An interesting thing about Gallhouse and Miner, they're both two-way players. They'll get it done in the circle, but also at the plate. Both being able to slug for over 400, getting on base over 30% of the time, and each with over 2.75 average as well. So very consistent hitters, and both with sub-1 ERAs, so very consistent pitchers as well. First pitch is a strike here for Lander as they open up bottom of the second.
And I want to remind the viewers, if you are watching from a Spartans perspective, we will be back on the air tomorrow afternoon. Corinne Miner hits that one, meanwhile, deep to center field and caught out there for out number 1. A well-struck ball by Miner. Tomorrow we have another doubleheader for you as the Spartans take on Ursuline. The first pitch of Game 1 will be at 12 noon Eastern Time. And if you're watching from a Lander perspective, thank you very much. And your team continues its season opening play on the road tomorrow across the bridge in St. Pete.
That's going to be a ball outside, 1-0. So doing well in the circle so far is Rebecca Boson. Hasn't surrendered a hit yet. But the 1-0 count here for Russo, who's always a dangerous hitter. Usually hits for more slugging than on base, but always a dangerous threat there. It's going to be an infield fly that is easily caught, so a second out. And once again, a relatively quick inning. Could be coming to an end soon. But now, Chevalier is back up at the plate.
And for the Bearcats, their games tomorrow, because that's another doubleheader for them, will be at Eckerd College. And then they will return home to start the home portion of their season on Friday, February 11th.
It's ball 1 to start out the next at bat. A good take there. But yeah, and if you are any fan of either team, you can check out the games tomorrow on the Sunshine State Conference Network, whether you're watching Lander versus Eckerd or Tampa's doubleheader as well. It's going to be fouled off for a 1-1 count.
Lexi Chevalier hoping to give the Spartans some offense here and to start to get a little further into the heads of the Lander Bearcats as she watches that one go by for strike 2.
Now 1-2 with 2 outs, a chance to get out cleanly. Lexi Chevalier trying to get on base for Tampa. And it's almost a bit of a reverse of what happened in Game 1, where Tampa was able to generate a little bit of offense, while Lander didn't. Strike 3, and that is the side retired. Another 1-2-3 inning from Boson. A really strong start for her. And soon we will be getting to the 3rd inning of play. Still scoreless.
College sports.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us.
And for college sports.
Are back at the Noli Family Stadium. 3rd inning getting ready to be underway for Game 2 of the Lander Tampa doubleheader. Game 1 was won by Tampa in a 1-0 pitching shootout. And so far, it's been a pretty exciting game if you're a Lander fan, and maybe a little bit nerve-wracking if you're a Tampa fan. Last inning, bases loaded, where we actually had to see a pitcher get called in a little bit early, as Maria Gallhouse was able to retire the side after Mary Beth Feldman was hit by a line drive. Thankfully, Feldman was wearing a mask and was able to walk off on her own power. Hopefully, Feldman will be back on the mound tomorrow in the next doubleheader for Tampa. But now back in the circle is Gallhouse. The ball one taken there to open up the inning.
Interesting that the Bearcats have 3 hits already. They've had runners in scoring position and yet nothing to show for it. As you see, a nice long throw there across the diamond by Corinne Miner in time for out number 1. And it's just more frustration the longer that kind of thing goes on, to have 3 hits that early in the game, to have had runners in scoring position and nothing to show for it. The Bearcats are going to have to change something here to try to finally break through against the Spartans. And you're going to see if Barbara Cook can do it here in this at-bat as she follows that first one back for strike 1.
That can be extremely deflating when you have that potential situation just get squandered. With 2 runners and 0 outs, Lander ended up getting nothing in that entire inning. But they still have plenty of time. There's a grounder to short. The throw to first will be in time. Good reach there from Emily Jansen at first. And now there's 2 outs. Gallhouse having a stronger start here with a little bit of time to warm up and get ready in the during the batting half. I think finally we can see Gallhouse at 100% on the circle. And there's a nice pitch that's inside for strike 1. It definitely was able to fool Anna Medley, who had come on as a pinch hitter last game. And now, of course, is in the lineup this game. The 0-1. That's a heater inside, or outside. It was too far outside for ball 1. 1-1. 2 outs. The 1-1 count. Swing and a miss. Gallhouse now a chance to get out. 1-2-3. The 1-2 count. And strike 3, it's a strikeout to finish a really nice 1-2-3 inning. Gallhouse showing her strength. Great job at the circle so far. And that will finish up the top half of the 3rd as the Spartans will now be ready to lead back at bat. Leading off will be Emma Jansen.
Yeah, Emily Jansen actually had a strong half inning, I thought, defensively, making those solid plays at first base. And these are going to be the 7, 8, 9 hitters that we're going to see in the bottom of the 3rd for the Spartans. After Emily Jansen, we will then see Alyssa Carfora, and she'll be followed by Mackenzie Allen. So I said that the Bearcats need to make some kind of change. You're hearing that Leslie Cantor has obviously made some lineup changes here in Game 2. And the likes of Carfora and Allen, who we did not see in Game 1. And certainly there's a lineup change for Lander in terms of who's in the circle this game, but they really need to change something up here because this game is going to move quickly, and the longer they go with nothing on the scoreboard, the more they're going to wonder, what in the world do we have to do to get anybody across the plate against this strong Spartans team? As we're seeing now Emily Jansen heading towards the batter's box and start things off for the Spartans.
Jansen, the right-handed hitter, tallest player on the team. Now the tall task of opening up the 3rd inning against some pretty strong pitching so far. Posting a great job in the circle so far. Having multiple strikeouts. The first pitch will be a little bit outside. Ball 1. Posted so far only 20 pitches in the first 2 innings. So very good to not have a lot of work so far in the circle. It's going to be ball a little bit low to 2-0.
consulting that wristband again and sends that one in low. And she is in trouble here in this at-bat for Emily Jansen as the count is now 3-0. And Rebecca Bosen's going to have to rebound quickly.
3-0 pitch, taken inside. Actually, it's going to be a strike. Jansen was convinced that was a ball. She even tossed the bat aside. But no, it just was on the corner. Strong enough, 3-1. I would have thought that's a ball, but again, I'm not an umpire. I'm not the expert. That's why you've got the real experts, 2 umpires here. This time it's another strike. Jansen was ready to go again, but nope. Full count here to lead off. That's the bottom of the 3rd inning. Good job working herself back into the at-bat.
This is something that Emily Jansen is going to have to overcome very quickly mentally. 2 in a row where she disagrees with it, was on her way to first. Now she puts her bat on the ball, but it's going to be a ground out. Tough at-bat for Emily Jansen. She was up 3-0 in the count. She has a pitch where she thinks she walks. She tosses the bat aside. No, it's a strike. Tries to bounce back from it. Same thing happens again. 3-2. All of a sudden she's able to put the bat on the ball, and it results in a ground out. So a tough at-bat for her. And the Spartans have one away here in the bottom of the 3rd. And so we'll get a look at Alyssa Carfora, who, as I mentioned, did not play in Game 1. She hails from Middletown, New Jersey.
Carfora was on the Commissioner's honor roll last season and didn't play that much, but today we'll be able to get a start. Unfortunately, that start is a ground out to the circle. An easy throw to first for Bosen, and once again, potentially rapid inning to finish off the 3rd inning.
Now we're going to see Mackenzie Allen, who I mentioned is another player that we did not see in Game 1. So some different looks in the UT lineup for Game 2 from head coach Leslie Cantor. Mackenzie Allen is from right here in Tampa, and she is batting 9th here and trying to keep this inning alive for UT.
Allen more frequently has been a pinch runner, but pinch hitting has had a 500 average over the last 2 seasons. So she's been consistent when coming off the bench. Hopefully, she can become the first base runner for Tampa today. She'll take a nice ball for a 1-2 count. Or 0-2. Bosen a chance to retire the side here. One more pitch needed. That's going to be well outside.
I mentioned before that at an even 6'0", Emily Jansen holds the distinction of being the tallest player on the team, and Mackenzie Allen at 5'2". Only Devin Hammonds at 5'1" is shorter than her. So we're getting both ends of the spectrum here in the UT lineup in Game 2.
Being small can give you that advantage of the smaller strike zone, and that allows her to take another ball right here, 2-2.
Now she had the advantage of a good eye there. That's one that I think some players would have been tempted to swing at, and a really good job by Mackenzie Allen to watch that one and the count even here, as the Spartans would love to get a base runner.
2-2 here. Bosen, here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. The side is retired. 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. 3 up and 3 down has been the story for Bosen on the mound so far. Still perfect through 3 so far. Tampa, however, has also been great pitching. Despite allowing a few hits, neither team is allowed a run, so it's still 0-0 entering the 4th.
Just another ordinary day at UT.
Strike one and the 0-1 here. She will be able to open up here on the circle, facing off against Evan Pesci. Pesci was able to get a great double earlier. Almost gets it down. Fortunately, goes into foul. So the 0-2 count here. So Mulhouse, of course, wasn't the intended starting pitcher, but Mulhouse has come in and done well in the circle so far. Can't register a strikeout yet, though. It's a 1-2 count. Here's the 1-2. It's going to be fouled away. And just out of the netting. It will land outside the stadium. Good job to keep the at-bat alive. Pesci now back for another 1-2. Mulhouse. That's going to be popped out and fouled. So once again, keeping the at-bat alive. Grounded and will lay foul. 2 fouls in a row. That's up as more than 6 tonight.
Yeah, that was really Pesci. He did she fouled it, but she didn't know where the ball had gone. Abby Behe reached on an error.
This time will be able to find it just outside. It'll be a 2-0 count here for Gallhouse. And a good eye so far for Behe.
Abby Behe reached on an error in the second inning. She'd love to get back on base here again. This game is there for the taking for either team at 0-0 here in the top of the fourth.
Will take the high ball. It's now a 3-0 count. Potentially can get on a 4-pitch walk. Gallhouse might not want to let that happen. 3-0. It's going to be inside. Strike one. So 3-1 here.
You know, that had the makings of the throw the bat aside. I thought it was ball 4. The umpire a little delayed with his call there, although this time Behe was patient and stuck around for it.
It's going to be grounded to Minor, who makes a brilliant play at third to record the second out. Good job by Gallhouse to get the out in what was a really good hitter's count. Gallhouse has always been great in the circle. Even though it's a little bit of a unexpected start, Gallhouse has done well. Potential to go 1-2-3 inning here. But still, one more batter to go. Here's the first pitch. That's going to be a ball up high. And of course, at the plate right now, he is Lauren Colley.
Made the comment before that if the Bearcats aren't careful, the game will get away from them quickly. Barring extra innings, they're 1 out away from this game being half over, and that one's going to be a base hit. So they do get a base runner here. I was going to say that barring extra innings, this game is 1 out away from being half over, and so they do need to start mustering some offense. And it must have hurt me because, as you saw there, Lauren Colley gets the ball to drop safely. So they've got a runner at first, but again, getting back to this being a team that had runners in scoring position early on, it's really an uphill battle as you see Kanaya Jones come to the plate, and they're going to hope that she can move the runner up.
Yep, and that was a great hit to right field. Mackenzie Allen did a good job tracking it, but was just a step late to make the catch. But the ball did land in the glove, preventing any extra bases there. The 0-1 off the swing and miss here for Jones. Runner on first, Jones at the plate. Gonna take that one. It'll be called strike 2. 0-2, the potential for Gallhouse to get out of the inning with 1 hitter alone. That deflating second inning where they had the bases loaded. They have been able to recover. Strike 3, the ball will get away. But the recovery
UT in the bottom of the fourth, we're going to see the top of the order. And the numbers 1, 2, and 3 hitters. And they're going to need to get things on track here for the Spartans, who are hitless through the first 3 innings. And they're fortunate that the score still shows zeros for both teams. And as I mentioned before, this is something we've seen from the Spartans in the past. They're a team that you start to worry when nothing's happening in the first few innings. They always come through. They always let you know that we're never out of the game. We've always got something in the bag, and they'll pull it out as they did in Game 1. And they need to do so again here if they're going to start the season 2-0. And then get some rest and turn around and get ready for 2 more games here in the same field tomorrow.
Wilson's had a great start so far. Tampa was able to get a few base runners at this time last week. So far, they haven't been able to crack the code. Moses kept it locked down. Let's hope he can continue that.
case, the left fielder just fell asleep, and as a result, Lexi Chevalier very easily advances to third. And really wondering, as you mentioned, Abby Hughes, did she think it was the third out? She was late. And as a result, the Spartans now have Chevalier in third. Much different picture here for Alyssa Carpora. That was the case with Jansen. Watching Chevalier be at second. Gets back to the visit that Julie Lemaire paid out to the circle, as she might be seeing her team starting to unravel, and that doesn't help what we just saw in left field. The Spartans definitely smell blood in the water. It's great to see that Sealand right now as Carpora can come through his base.
That's going to be a ground ball headed to second. Throws in time. 1-1 score by the Spartans on one hit and one walk. They take the lead entering the top of the sixth. Pressure's on and landing on the spot.
What do you get when you take your favorite food and stuff it inside a pocket of homemade dough? Cooked perfectly until golden brown. It's a mouth-watering empanada from Mr. Empanada. No one makes a better empanada. Take Ted Webb's word for it.
Almost as good as my mom used to make.
Check out our website for a location near you, MrEmpanada.com.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the
record, I do see Mary Beth Feldman in that huddle that's just outside the third base bag. So clearly she's fine despite taking that ball off of the mask. And we'll look to probably see her pitch one of the two games tomorrow, as the Spartans have a doubleheader against Ursuline starting at 12 o'clock. But in the meantime, this game's shaping up really well for them. We're going to the bottom of the sixth, and regardless of what they do here, all of a sudden, if you're the Bearcats, you're looking at, hey, we might have only one at-bat left here, and we're going to try to salvage a split in this doubleheader. This inning, we're going to see Mackenzie Allen lead things off as the Spartans start off at the bottom of the order. So we'll see the number 9 and then the 1-2 hitters, Mackenzie Allen, and she'll be followed by Lauren Antone and then Steph Ballmer. With runners in scoring position. And that's something that's not going to get them very far. They have to clean that up very early in the season. You need to be clinical when it comes to runners in scoring position, but also have these active on losses. That means that there's some time the boats are still pitching really well, going into the depends on number 1. Just like longer at that. We talked about taking the positive away from game 1. Only allowed 1 run. We only lost by 1 run. You lose this game 1-0. It feels entirely different.
Here's the play. Allen barely misses out by maybe half a step. That was a great job in the base path by her, but almost even better from Kanaya Jones to be able to get the throw in time. I'm going to be honest, that was a 50-50 call. I think that would have gone either way.
And the tie always goes to the runner, the expression goes, but not in that case. And, you know, you got to take your hat off to Mackenzie Allen because she really battled through that at-bat, and to not get something out of it is really disheartening for her as the Spartans get their first out here in the bottom of the 6th.
And you could see Allen's expression just like, I was so close. Either way, that one wasn't as close here for the first pitch. It's a ball 1-0. Off for Lauren Fantone. Boson only 67 pitches so far in 5 1/3. And by the way, if we were keeping track, that was where in the first game we were seeing Minor be at the start of the 4th inning. So interesting to see, of course, the difference of paces of Tampa not usually driving counts up as high, although it is 2-0 right here. It's 3-0 here from Boson. Actually, 2-1. That is a strike. Hits the corner. And again, I think that when you take a look at it, Boson having a great start here from the circle. and hopefully the Bearcats can rely on good performances from her all year. That ball is outside, and it'll be 3-1. There's a chance here for Fantone to try to get on board.
Fantone just waiting and waiting, and now Boson finally delivers.
And that is ball 4, a second walk of the day.
And Mackenzie Allen has to feel good watching Lauren Fantone get that walk, because she's thinking at least one of us got on base.
And now, of course, with one out, they're guaranteed, unless there's a double play, to bring up some of the stronger bats in the lineup up next. Right now, of course, is Stephanie Ballmer. But up next, of course, will be the dangerous Mariah Gallhouse. So, if you're Boson, you're definitely worried about what will happen next. Here's the 0-0. Strike one. That was up high inside. Ballmer took a stab at it, but unfortunately missed. So it's 0-1 with one out. Boson with her eye on first. When you're in the circle, there's always that worry about what is the runner on first going to do. It's going to be 1-1 here. And you can see Boson's got her eye right on Fantone. The 1-1 here to Ballmer. Ballmer's going to foul that away. 1-2. trying to steal second. The throw, not in time. And now the tying run is at second with no outs. 1-0 count here for the Bulldogs. We saw Jones come in as a pinch runner last time. Not surprised to see her steal base right here.
Yeah, too bad for Lexi Chevalier. She had two good throws down to third, and that time just wasn't able to beat the runner ball to second.
And there's a bunt down. The tying run will head to third. And safe at first as well. So a bunt that was just intended to move the runner once again leads to a hit. That's the seventh hit of the day for Lander. The go-ahead run at first, tying run at third, and now the pressure is really on Tampa and Jones. Sage Jones now coming up. Actually, there will be a pitch hit. No, actually, Tierney is now up. Tierney is going to pop it down. Out.
And they've not done anything with it. So they almost have to come through in spite of themselves, knowing we've been in this position before, we've not been able to do it. We can finally break through on the Spartans defense. As you see, Sajari Jones advanced now to second base. So all of a sudden things looking up for the Bearcats with two runners in scoring position and none out in the top of the seventh.
It's an 0-2 count, however, so they could get the first out right here. Ryan's going to drop it to the pitcher, throw to first. Not fielded well enough, and the game is tied. Runners at third. But what's the call at first is going to be the big thing.
And the
That
umpires
very well could be safe at first as well.
The umpires are going to come together and talk about this. And this will be interesting. And regardless, we now know that the Spartans will bat in the bottom of the seventh. And
So
you hear the boos from the crowd is actually from the visiting fans, as there is an out at first base.
But honestly, the out at first base didn't really matter all that much. Lander did what they needed to do. They got on the board. It is a 1-1 game. The leading go-ahead run is now at third. The first pitch will be fouled off as Shannon Antonini comes in to try to help spark the offense once again.
Yeah, exactly. You're right in the fact that whether that runner was going to be safe or out at first base really isn't the thing. They tied the game. They also have Sajari Jones at third, and there's only one out.
That point was down. Ballhouse has had a great start here on the circle, but unfortunately, now is just trying to keep the game alive and keep it tied.
Had that decision at first base been the difference between 2 outs or 3 outs, yes, it would have been a big deal, but all it gave them was their first out of the inning.
And there's a wild pitch, and that will give Lander the lead. Actually, less of a wild pitch, more of a passed ball, because it just fell off the catcher's glove. So unfortunate there from Chevalier. Not a good day for her fielding-wise. Multiple missed attempts at trying to pick off people at stolen bases. And right here, that wild pitch now sends the go-ahead run home. Lander now leads 2-1. Dollhouse here. 1-2. It's going to be outside 2-2.
And if you're Lander, you have to be saying it's about time something broke our way, because as I was saying at the beginning of this half inning, they've been in this position plenty of times, just were never able to get anything from it, and now they finally did.
Here's a ground ball. It's going to get by short. A chance maybe to turn two. She's going to try the throw from left. In at the plate, safe. I thought she had that in time. So it's going to be a one-out double. A great job on the base path there by Antonini, who apparently beat out the throw by a little bit. I thought the throw came back in time, but that being said, it's a little bit harder to look from up here.
Well, you know, and some people might say you're being a homer, but from up here, it did look like she was out. I also had the play before that I felt Chevalier threw out the runner at third that they said was safe. At the end of the day, you have to stick with the umpire's call, and all of a sudden, the Spartans really have their work cut out for them, because things have broke the Bearcats' way, And now they've got another runner in scoring position, a 2-1 lead, and still just one out.
So the pressure is now building for the Spartans. They're trying to hope now to limit the bleeding as 2 runs had just been scored. Runner on second. And strike 1 right there. And yeah, that was a close play at second right there. But in safe in time. Good job by Antonini to get to second there. And now a chance to try to get a 3rd run here for Lander. It's going to be a strike, but actually a ball right here. Just a little bit low. Mariah Gallhouse here, the 1-1. It's going to be a little bit outside, but actually just on the corner. So 1-2 count here with 1 out. Trying to see if she can get it to 2 outs. Once you got a runner in second, it's a dangerous position. That's just high and outside, 2-2 count.
Yeah, it's interesting. Barbara Cook has looked at 2 consecutive pitches. One of them was a strike, and then that one was just outside enough that it was ball 2.
And strike 3. Catches Cook off guard with the off speed. So now, with 2 outs, a chance to try to just give Tampa one last shot with 1 run needed. 2 of the stronger hitters from Tampa are still going to be set to be up in Minor and Russo. Chevalier has had a great game at the bat with an RBI double earlier. So potential for those players to try to break open the game. First pitch is going to be a strike.
This is Logan Coward, who hit into a double play back in the 5th inning. And her team has taken the lead here in the top of the 7th.
There's going to be a line drive to center. Not fielded cleanly enough. It's now going to be a 3-1 ball game. Lander with an electric 7th inning. Everything finally going right. It's a solid hit right there for Coward. And now, stepping up to the plate is going to be Haven Pesci, who has had a great game. Going 2 of 3, and now has a chance with a runner on first to try to continue putting damage on.
I'll tell you what, you got to give the Bearcats all kinds of credit. It would have been really easy to say, Lady Luck just did not smile on us today. Let's lick our wounds, let's jump on the bus, let's head across the bridge to St. Pete and get ready for our games tomorrow. The Spartans were 3 outs away from closing this thing out and winning both games of the doubleheader 1-0, and all of a sudden, here's Lander sitting with a 3-1 lead.
There's going to be a fly. Jansen can't get it. Very close. Good job trying to track it down. But yeah, as you're talking about, Lady Luck rolling up snake eyes for most of the day, finally gets the double sixes and gets it again. And right there to get a total of 3 runs so far in the 7th inning, and that runner on first could still come around and score. The 0-1 here with 2 outs though. That's going to be fouled off for strike 2. Gallhouse hoping to close it out.
And it wasn't that long ago that I was saying that Lander did not want to look at the scoreboard because it showed 6 hits for them, and yet they are on the wrong end of a 1-0 score, and all of a sudden they have 9 hits and a 3-1 lead.
Rounded to Russo. The throw to first is in time. Tampa finally gets out, but the floodgates had opened, and Lander was able to put them on some runs. The bottom of the 7th is now up for Tampa. They need 2 runs to keep it alive. 3 runs would win, but if they want any hope of trying to take it to extras or further, Tampa needs to do something right now.
And you know, you have to do it one batter at a time, and you don't have to come up to the plate thinking that I need to hit the game-winning home run. You do have the number 4 hitter, Corinne Miner, coming up to start things off, and that's why someone like her is in the cleanup spot. You expect results, and someone like her needs to produce at a point like this so that the Spartans can scratch and claw their way back into this game. And it really does only take 2 runs to make it a brand new game, because now you're either talking we're going to get the go-ahead run and we're going to win it, or we're going to go to extra innings.
So we'll have to see if Tampa can try to respond to that 3-run inning. Once again on the mound will be Boson. 79 pitches, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, and only a solitary hit allowed, which did bring home a run. So great job for her in the circle so far. Doing a great job. And all Bosun needs to do from the circle is just one more clean inning.
You look at a player like Corinne Miner, she's been there before. You're not going to have to worry about freshman jitters, someone who can't handle the pressure of a late game situation like this. And so Leslie Cantor has to feel good that this is her leadoff hitter for this inning.
Miner's been incredibly consistent, and that's the type of person you want to start out. That's a fly ball, but it will land foul out to the side. But we've seen Miner be able to get under some of those. She had a home run last season. And honestly, I know Tampa would probably love to get a home run here, but all they need to do is figure out how to get 2 runs off a particularly strong pitcher and pitching performance from Bosun. The 0-1 here after the foul ball. Bosun's going to get forced to ground to third and 1 away to start the 7th.
And I'll tell you, regardless of what happens the rest of this half inning, it's been a very entertaining afternoon of softball. We've seen 2 really great games here. We've got another doubleheader for you tomorrow when the Spartans host Ursuline. If you're in the Tampa Bay area, I encourage you to come out and support the team and watch these games in person here at the Namoli Family Stadium, as we now see Alexa Russo come to the plate trying to keep things alive for the Spartans.
There's going to be a drive to right, and it's a nice catch in right field. 2 away in the bottom of the 7th. And as we were saying, 2 great games, and all you really want out of an opening day is to just have 2 games where you can sit down, relax, and enjoy it. And I'm sure that maybe there wasn't as much relaxing with some of the stressful situations, but still 2 very enjoyable performances. Tampa winning a 1-0 close fight, and here Lander trying to hold on to a 3-1 victory after a 7th inning resurgence.
And let's give a tip of the cap to Bridget Tierney. Great catch there out in right field for out number 2.
The 0-0 from Bosun. It's going to be taken inside. Strike 1.
You can't overlook the importance of a play like that, because that ball had eyes and looked like it was going to be a base hit. And all of a sudden, the Bearcats find themselves just 1 out away from this come-from-behind victory.
1 more out needed. Bosun here now with the 0-1. Going to be inside, taken for ball 1. The Lander crowd here at times has been louder than Tampa's. They've traveled very well to see their players perform. And of course, the Florida native Rebecca Bosun in the circle from Bradenton, Florida. I wonder if her family's here. This would be a great game for her family to see. The 0-1-1 is going to be fouled off the 1-2. What was looking like a potential real, that's why they played the game loss, is turning out to be could be a very well-deserved victory for Lander.
Chevalier does have Tampa's only hit. It was a double in the 5th inning. It's got to give her some optimism in this at-bat here, and certainly doing everything she can to keep her team alive.
The 1-2 is going to be high and outside, a 2-2 count for Bosun.
Yeah, so the hope continues. Chevalier, she's been there before and certainly has to feel confident here.
Jansen on deck, hoping she can have a chance. The 2-2 pitch. And it is going to be fouled off barely into the glove. Just enough to get contact there to keep the game alive. 2-2 count, 2 outs, a 2-run deficit. The pressure mounting. 2-2 coming up from Bosun. Trying to finish it off from the circle. It's going to be a pop fly to first base, and the one-hitter is complete for Bosun. Rebecca Bosun take a bow, a masterclass on the mound. Unlucky to have even conceded a run while only allowing a solitary hit. And Lander will take the series and tie it up. It concludes 1-1, and what an opening day of softball we've had here.
Yeah, a tough loss for the Spartans after they were fortunate enough to be leading 1-0 despite only having 1 hit. At the same time, they did win the first one. They do get the split And for Lander, they've got to be thrilled coming out of here with the split, with the way that things were looking for them. It seemed as though they were going to go 0-2, and they managed to pull it out. And the great thing about softball is that there's 2 more games tomorrow, so you're going to be able to forget about this second game really quickly and get back in action tomorrow at 12 noon against Ursuline.
And taking a look at some of the pitching stats for Tampa in the circle, Feldman had 1 2/3 innings with 4 strikeouts and 3 hits. Gallhouse came in, pitched 5 1/3, getting 3 strikeouts but allowing 2 runs earned and 6 hits. One of them was unearned off an error.
And I want to thank everyone for watching, whether you were watching from a Tampa perspective or from a Lander perspective. I'm Bruce Wozniak, along with Taylor Stolworthy. We've been glad to call the games for you today, and we hope that you'll rejoin us tomorrow at 12 noon as the Spartans host Ursuline.
Thanks for tuning in.